Good evening, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I just came directly from the airport. Baruch Hashem, I arrived now from Istanbul, from Turkey. And in 18 years that I give lectures, I didn't see what I've seen in the last 3 days. Maybe I feel to myself, if I came to the world just for these 3 days, was worth it already. So Hashem helped me. I don't know why, but He helped me to do, perhaps, from what the people there say to me, the biggest Jewish event in Turkey's history. Why? Nobody heard of more than 400 Jews coming to one lecture. We started in Hilton Hotel there in Istanbul from 1 in the afternoon and we finished at 11 at night. And that's after on Shabbat I spoke 9 hours straight. From the morning to night. The people there, not hungry, starving for Torah. Starving for Torah. And then Friday night. And prior to that I was in Israel for a few days. Also we gave lectures there. Bezrat Hashem will post them this week. So it was amazing, amazing. Also, I found that the people there, it's, I don't know, I mean, how Hashem does it. He sends, I guess, the neshamot to different countries, according to their nature, maybe. But almost every person there is such an incredible human being, with personality, midot. The people there are very impressive. Even the not religious people, who don't know that much about religion, but as far as manners and personality and respect and dignity, very interesting. Very interesting. And you know, it's not safe to be a Jew in Turkey. You cannot walk with the yarmulke there. You have to go with a beret hat or baseball hat, or some don't go without kippah at all. And then the shuls, since they had massive attacks, they put bombs with cars. You know, a few years ago, they blew up the place, not once, few times, in both big shuls. So now, in order for you to get into the shul, you have to pass through 3 big metal doors, like a bunker. And you cannot go into the second door until the first door is closed. And there's all electronic eyes and few security guys with guns sitting, and the place is surrounded. So even if they want to put a bomb, they're very far away from the shul, because there's so many security, so you cannot reach the shul. And plus, the shul has a yard, which they have a nice place that they eat breakfast after the tefillah. So it's covered with big glasses that is anti-bombs. Very interesting. And then I saw that there's huge big trees, old trees from like 200 years ago, that they go through the glass. They made a special window, and a tree goes out of the roof. So I asked the rabbi there, what is this? He said, that's the rule in Turkey. You're not allowed to cut trees. The Torah says you're not allowed to cut trees that have fruit. But over there, all trees, it's against the law. You can go to jail for that if they catch you. And every tree is registered. A lot of interesting things over there I have seen. It will take me a few days to digest everything. But the most important thing is that we had a massive amount of people who promised me they're going to start keeping Shabbat. And they translate the lectures to Turkish. So now, and they brought an interpreter, and everyone had their earpiece. So those who understand English, they understand. But those who don't, they hear it on a translation. So that's it. So now we are 2 weeks before Pesach. And hope everybody already started his preparation. But I'm not talking cleaning the house. Cleaning the house, it's 2-3 days, it's fine. If you have a very big house, maybe a week. People clean more than what they should do. In other words, you have to clean the chametz, that's it. Not the windows and all kinds of things. There's nothing to do with chametz. Showers, the walls, this. You want to clean the whole house, fine. The problem is that people take advantage on this cleaning idea to clean 90% of the things that has nothing to do with Pesach. So by the time we get to Leila Seder, the women are already sleeping. They can't really participate in Leila Seder. They work so many days before. Now they sit on the table, they fall asleep. Or they have to serve the guest. And that's a big problem. It's better that they take some time to rest before. Maybe they finish everything a day before. And they have some time to stay up and listen to the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim. They also participate in that nest. Children, most important thing, everybody has to know that in this night, the children is more important than the guest. Many people, they want to entertain their guest, and then they speak in a language that the guest understand, but then the children are sitting and they don't understand anything. So if you have little kids, you have to talk to them in a level of kindergarten, to explain to them the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim. That's the main mitzvah of the night. Sipur Yetziat Mitzrayim. Matzah, it's 2 minutes. You eat 2 kazait matzah, and that's it. How long it's going to take? 3, 4, 5 minutes, you're done. The story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, we start right after we read the Megillah. We start all night, sometimes until very late, almost in the morning, like they used to do in the time of Chazal. Briefly, I will give us some ideas about Pesach. Everyone who eats 1 ounce of chametz in Pesach, in the holiday of Pesach, from the beginning to the end, all 7 days, and here 8 days in America, on purpose, he knows it's chametz, beer, spaghetti, cookies, wheat vinegar, all these things. It's all chametz. A person that eats 1 ounce of it, immediately is chayav karet. 36 sins in the Torah are very severe, very severe. And I have said it many times in the past that we understand how severe is the sin by the punishment. Punishment is horrible. That shows you how horrible is the sin. So if a person eats 1 ounce of chametz in any time in the 8 days of Pesach here, immediately, right away, his soul gets cut out of the afterlife. Chas v'shalom can die young, younger than his age. So a person has to be very, very careful. Sometimes he can eat 1 bite chametz here and in 10 minutes another bite. It all adds together. It adds together. So once he's going to, 1 ounce is nothing. It's 2 bites, it's 1 cookie, it's already 1 ounce. It's not that much. So a person that eat that, v'nichreta nefesh ha'im Yisrael, it says. And if he does it accidentally, I don't know, someone told him it's from rice flour or from kemach matzah, accidentally. And in the end, they found out that it was totally chametz. So obviously he didn't have intention to make a sin. So he has to bring a korban chatat. Today we don't have Bet HaMikdash. But in the old days he had to sacrifice a goat to bring it to Bet HaMikdash to do tshuva for the not intentional sin that he just did. Whether you eat, whether you drink, is the same thing. That's why we have to be very careful with whiskey, some of the vodkas, and you have to check. Anything that have 5 kinds of grains is chametz. Now there is a Ashkenazi minhag that the Ashkenazim do not eat kitniot. Kitniot means chickpeas, peas, rice, many other things that it's called kitniot, peanuts, things like this. They don't eat. It's not a law. It's not in a Torah, and it's not even a rabbinical law. It's called minhag. That's their customs. They decided that it's too dangerous in the old days maybe the fields were close to each other, maybe the merchandise used to get mixed. They don't want to take a risk because Pesach is very important. Nobody wants to eat chametz on Pesach. It's enough that one, instead in the rice that you make, one of them is wheat, one, in a huge pile of rice, and you cook it, and you cook it on Pesach, or you heat it on Pesach. What happens? It makes the entire bowl chametz, everything, because it rises, it splits, and then everything becomes chametz. In the middle of Pesach, a person eats chametz. People who buy matzot with not good hechsher, they are not strictly kosher, they have a jeopardy of eating chametz in this matzah. Some matzot are totally chametz. You should know that. You got to be very careful. So, the most important thing we have to understand, if a person ate kitniot, he doesn't have any karet, and he doesn't need korban chatat. None of the things. He just violated custom of his fathers, which they come from Europe. Really, I saw one of the most legendary Ashkenazi rabbis in history, and his father, Baal HaTurim, and his father is the chief Ashkenazi posek in the last 1,000 years, that Baal HaTurim say, I don't know where this custom came from. Doesn't make any sense. That's his words. Which means his father, which is the main Ashkenazi posek, obviously was eating kitniot and Pesach, because if his father was not eating it, why does he write, I don't know where this custom came from? What do you mean? Your father didn't do it. What are you asking? So from this we understand that in the most important Ashkenazi posek was eating kitniot. And I saw Rav Yaakov Amdin and everyone is wondering why this became a custom. It's actually make people not enjoy their holiday, because almost nothing is allowed. You only have to eat potato, no rice, no this, no that. And some Hasidim that are so strict, they don't eat cucumbers, they don't eat eggplants, they don't eat potatoes, they don't even eat oil. They make oil from chicken. They make extra chumrah on extra on extra on extra. In the end, there's almost nothing to eat. The Sfaradim got lucky on Pesach. Almost everything is allowed. Just the 5 kinds of grains is not allowed. But they eat rice, but they have to check the rice 3 times before. So you can take a kid that is reliable, bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, that they understand. And if you want them to do a good job, tell them I give you $1 for every brown or black one that you find. Believe me, by the end of that, they won't have anything. And then you can cook it. So you can eat rice. If Ashkenazi came to eat by Sfaradi, and they serve him on plates, Pesach plates, that they usually serve rice, that doesn't mean he cannot eat on these plates. Because remember, kitniot is not chametz. It's not that he's making it chametz for him. Also, you don't have to take the kitniot out of your home. You can keep it in the house. You're just not allowed to eat it if you're Ashkenazi. But you can keep it in a closet. You don't need to sell it to a goy if you have peanuts or chickpeas. You don't have to sell it to a goy. It's not chametz. It's 100% not chametz. Just, you can cover it, not to make mistake, not to eat it. My way, and I suggest that everyone will adapt this way, is never to sell anything to the goy on Pesach. Never. Huh? Before Pesach, of course. For Pesach, I mean. For Pesach. Why? Why? Because, first of all, there's a lot of questions about this trick that we do, selling it to a goy. It's questions if the goy really means to buy it. If you come in the middle, if the goy will come in the middle of Pesach, would you really give him the chametz? There's a lot of questions here. And also this custom came to help the grocery owners. Grocery stores, big markets, they have tons of merchandise. Instead of everything goes to the garbage, because nobody will buy it after Pesach. Because there's a rule, chametz she'avar alav Pesach, chametz that was in a position of a Jew, and he owned it in Pesach, is forbidden for eternity, after Pesach. Nobody can enjoy from it. That's why I give you an idea. Sometimes you go to your friend's house, it's not religious. He even eat chametz on Pesach. And he has whiskey bottles. He doesn't know what does it mean to sell to a goy. He come, he serve you from this whiskey has to be destroyed. He didn't sell it to a goy. If he sold it to a goy, you can count on it. But these people, what sell it to a goy? He drink from it in the middle of Pesach. So now, a week later or a month later, you come to his house, your uncle, whatever, he serve you this whiskey, you're not allowed to drink from it. The Ari HaKadosh says, he's the biggest Kabbalist in the last 2,000 years, he said that if a person is very careful with Chametz in Pesach, it's going to protect him from not making any sin in the entire year until the following Pesach. But people ask, we are very careful with Chametz in Pesach, so careful, so strict, we make plenty of sins between now and next Pesach. So the explanation is, what he really meant is Chametz she'avar alav Pesach. So a person will be very careful after Pesach to buy Chametz, to store in the house Chametz, to buy it from someone that did not violate the rules with this Chametz. So if you buy it from a goy doesn't have to get rid of his Chametz. So it's no problem. If you buy it from a Jew, you have to make sure the Jew sold it to a goy. And if he's a secular Jew, you're not allowed to buy Chametz from him. Because this Chametz is all violation, has to be destroyed. So you have to be careful. But if you want to be extra strict, even from a goy, it's not so simple to buy. Why? Because the suppliers in America of the 5 kinds of grains, most of them are Jews. They own the market. So they supply every day trucks to the supermarkets everywhere from merchandise that is from their storages. Which means if in Chol HaMoed of Pesach he deliver a huge truck full of spaghetti and flour, whatever they have over there, wheat, corn flakes, all these things, into a supermarket in your neighborhood, you do not know who the supplier is. There's a very high chance it's a Jew that is not is a Reform Jew or something. They even eat Chametz on Pesach. So definitely they don't sell it. So he supply to Vini, and Vini sell it to you in the neighborhood, and you're actually eating Chametz shelo avar alav Pesach. But you don't have to be that strict. I just say if you want to be extra strict, because of the words of the Ari, that's fine. But if you go to a goy, you can buy the Chametz from him without investigating him. When do you have this Chametz from? When did you get it? Did you get it before Pesach? Or it came to you in the middle of Pesach? Who is the supplier? You don't have to go that far. Why? Because it's a rabbinical law. It's not a mitzvah from the Torah. If it's mitzvah from the Torah, then you have to always go to the strict side. If there's a doubt, you don't take risks. If it's rabbinical mitzvah, then mitzvah safek de Rabbanan lekula. You don't have an obligation to start make an investigation. You're not Sherlock Holmes. Same thing, we have a rule that it's called kemach yashan. It's flour that we know, and after the Pesach, second day of Pesach, they used to do korban ha'omer. They're cutting wheats and they go like this with the wheats. It's called korban ha'omer. And that allows all the flowers that was cut before, from now on it's all permitted. So some says that this mitzvah still exists today. Still mitzvah. Now in Chutz La'aretz, there's 2 doubts about it. 2 doubts. One doubt if this mitzvah is in Chutz La'aretz in these days today. And each flower that comes to your hand, it's very hard to know when it was cut. You don't know. It could be 6 months ago, it could be 2 years ago. Have big storages. It doesn't get spoiled. It's very hard to know. So one rabbi decided to clarify one of the doubts. Why? Let me explain something in case you didn't know. When there is one doubt in a rabbinical law, you can go to the lenient side. To the lenient side. But if you have a doubt in a Torah law that comes directly from the Torah, one doubt is not allowed to go to the lenient side. You have to go to the strict side. Don't take risk. But if you have 2 doubts, 2 different doubts, 2 doubts allow you to go to the lenient side. But if you're very fearful from Hashem, you don't want to count on that. But I'm just telling you what the law is. It's called safek sfeka. Why it's become allowed? Because the Torah say you always follow the majority. the majority. What does it mean? If you have one doubt, it's 50-50. It's an equal doubt. There's no majority. It's 50% that it's kosher, 50% that it's not. But if there's two doubts, it makes it 75-25. Because it's 50-50. And now on the 50% that is not good, there's another doubt, which cut it in again. So it becomes 75-25. And the Torah says, Acharei rabim la'atot. The majority always win. In mixture, all kinds of mixture, always, if the majority is kosher, the entire mixture is kosher. The majority is not kosher, the entire thing is not kosher. The rabbinical law is that you need to have at least 60 times more kosher than non-kosher in a mixture. But it's a rabbinical law. But from the Torah it was enough that you have 51% and 49% not good, everything is good. Now, since there's two doubts, technically you're allowed to eat. It makes life a lot easier. Why? Because every bread you buy with OU, OK, Kaf K, whatever, all these ashgachot that we have breads in the supermarket, you can eat it. Why? There's two doubts. One doubt if this mitzvah in these days is applying in overseas, and the second doubt is there's no way to know where this flour came from. If it came from before Pesach or after, or from before the previous Pesach, there's really no way to know. So this rabbi decided to invest years of his life and make list of all the flour of each company, when it was cut. When I saw it, I don't understand what was in his mind when he did it. Up to now, no one was a sinner. Now he made so many people sin. Who gave you an obligation to run and investigate all the flours, which company, what they cut, when it was delivered, what for? Right now there's two doubts. You come to the supermarket, they don't know. Nobody knows whether you're going to make 5-hour investigation if this piece of bread, when the flour was cut. There's no way to know. The Torah didn't say that you're going to spend 5 hours for every doubt you have. It's not what the Torah says. A reasonable doubt. Right now, there's no way to know. What are you running now? The people who ignore his book, maybe they are making a sin from the Torah. Because there's only one doubt. Because if you go and buy his book, then you can check each company when these flours that they supply, if it's yashan or not. The best thing to do is, when you go to the supermarket, especially here in Queens, Brooklyn, at least 50% of the products, it says on it, Na'asa mikemach yashan. So there's a way to do it without violating any rule, because you have flour, yes. Spaghetti yashan, you have. You have cookies yashan, yes. Not everything is yashan, but if you want to be machmir, there is a way to do it. There's plenty of stuff that is yashan. Yashan means old. One time I went to when was that? Pizza store, bagel store. So I asked the guy, is it kemach yashan? He said, no, chas v'chalila, it's hakol tari. So ignorant, he didn't even know what it means. So that's what it is. Today, by the way, in the last 15-20 years, more and more people paying attention to this rule. 20 years ago, almost nobody paid attention to it. The Ashkenazim, the Hasidim, everyone was eating every flour as long as it's kosher, as some kashrut, no problem. Now, most of the bakeries in Brooklyn, in Queens, most of the bakeries selling all the challah bread, almost everything is yashan. And once in a while you find that it's not. So most of them already adjusted themselves. Okay, so let's go back. So a person better not to sell anything, unless if you have lots of bottles of whiskey and they're very expensive. No, I understand, you don't want to lose hundreds of dollars, fine. But other than that, what reason you have to run and sell to a goy for $15, $20 you're trying to save? What are you trying to save? 2 packs of spaghetti, $3, 10 pita bread. What are you trying to sell? A few cookies? Just eat it. 30 days before Pesach, still have 2 weeks to finish it. Fresh! Give the children, make spaghetti, serve a lot of chametz in these 2 weeks, and get rid of it. And if you have leftover, so you burn it. You need to leave some to burn anyway. There's mitzvah to burn chametz. So you burn a little bit. Or you give it to your cleaning lady. Or to your neighbor goy. You know, whatever. And even if you have a bottle of whiskey, one left, half of it left, whatever, you have 2 weeks now to finish it. Drink a little bit l'chaim, or give you in a good mood, you know, and that's it. Shabbat coming, you drink a little bit on Shabbat, or you just get rid of it. Better to get rid of it. Why? Because if the sale with the goy did not go through, for technical reason, did not go through, then you violate more than 1 million sins in one Pesach. Think about it. Every second it's 3 sins from the Torah. לא ייראה לך חמץ, לא יימצא לך חמץ, ותשביתו שאור מבתיכם. 2 restrictions and 1 positive mitzvah. Each second it's 3 from the Torah. How many seconds you have in a minute? 60. Right away 180 violation in a minute. Multiply by 60, multiply by 24 hours, multiply by 7. Is it more than 1 million? Yes. So you try to save $15 on a stupid spaghetti and a pita bread that you have left, or 2 bottles of beer, and you just earn to yourself 1 million sins from the Torah. Shar koach. Genius. I don't know why people standing, running, the rabbi, and not on. You know what's the funny thing? I've seen people come to sell chametz that it's worth less than $10, and they give the rabbi $10 for his service. That's the biggest joke. No, they're standing online. You know, you should see how the shul is a few days before Pesach. Every shul, the rabbis are sitting like it's giur or something. טוב שאין בית דין, you know. Better not to have chametz left.
Yeah, but selling on top of that is extra proportion.
I don't leave any chametz. I don't need to sell chametz. Don't leave. And I don't have 1 gram of chametz in my house. Bezrat Hashem. Now I know what you're thinking. But I have tuna that is not kosher for Pesach. I have corn that is not kosher for Pesach. Well, I'm going to throw everything? No. Everything that doesn't say kasher lePesach, you have to read the ingredients. All the spices, all the boxes. You read. If you find 5 kinds of grains in it, then you have to get rid of it. But if it doesn't, tuna. It's not chametz. Why it's not kasher lePesach? Because they don't know. Maybe in a factory, the workers eating, maybe there's a gram of chametz in 1 box out of 1 million. We don't know. We didn't supervise it. What's the chance that tuna is chametz? 1 to 1 billion. But we didn't supervise it, so we don't write kasher lePesach. We don't. You go to the store now, to the Chinese guy across the street, and you buy tomatoes in the middle of Pesach. What's it? It's chametz? No. Cucumbers, it's chametz? No. It's no problem. So those are who in a can, they don't see kasher lePesach. As long as they don't have chametz in the ingredients, you can keep in a house. Just cover it with a piece of paper, leave it, you don't have to sell it, nothing. Just leave it in a house, don't eat from it, that's all. Now you have to be very careful. There is all kinds of vinegar. Some kosher, some not kosher for Pesach. Depends if it's from wheat or not. Rice vinegar, for Sfaradim, it's fine. But not all the time they tell you what vinegar they put. That's the biggest problem. I don't know why. Sometimes you have some kind of a barbecue sauce or something that you bought. You read in the ingredients, it say to you vinegar, but it doesn't say apple vinegar. It's no problem. Wine vinegar, if it has OU, so it's not yain nesech. The only problem is, what happens if it's wheat vinegar? They don't tell you. For that, you cannot take the risk. You gotta get rid of it. Maybe it's wheat. Then it's chametz, completely chametz. Machmetzet. So you have to be very careful. Then, chametz also is not allowed to enjoy from it. Is not allowed to enjoy from it. So after we sell the chametz, by midday on Pesach, from that moment on, we cannot sell the chametz anymore. For those who sell chametz, we cannot sell it. Why? because it's not allowed to enjoy from it after that. That's it. And if somebody eat chametz from midday until Leil Seder, before Pesach started, it's also a sin from the Torah. Did you know that? What night is Leil Seder this year? Monday night? Monday night. So if somebody eat chametz at Monday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 6 hours before Leil Seder, 7 hours before Leil Seder. It's a sin from the Torah, not Rabbanan. It's not karet, because the holiday did not officially start, but really in the old days there was already the preparation of Korban Pesach and everything. So not allowed, after we burn the chametz, that's it, we get rid of the chametz, finished. Not allowed. Then we have an extra hour to sell it, to be able to save the value of it. But if we didn't sell it, that's it. You got to destroy it. You cannot anymore sell it, because by getting money, you enjoy from it. You can't even feed your dog the leftover chametz after the time that they say on the boards. They tell you, first you have sof zman achilat chametz, sof zman, they give you all the times. After all the times are over, that's it. There's nothing you can do with that. Then, someone who leave chametz in his property, right? And the chametz doesn't belong to him, belongs to a goy. Let's say a goy is renting his basement in his house.
1034.
1034? Baruch Hashem. So if a person renting a room to a goy in his basement, and the room in the basement is full of beer, alcohol, flour, whatever. So now the Jew is worried. Wow, it's in my house. The house is full of chametz. It's no problem. This room doesn't belong to you. Once he rented it, pays money for that, that's his room. He's responsible for this room. If he left an hour before Pesach, come, he gave you the key. Let's say the end of the month was an hour before Leil Seder. Say, Yosef, yeah, who is this? Tony. Yeah, what Tony? Listen, my grandmother in Italy is sick, I have to leave. Here is the key, here is the rent, leave me alone, goodbye. An hour before. You rather run clean it, because he came back to your territory. You didn't violate any rules. Technically, if you knew about it from the before, you had to clean the chametz from the morning already. But since now he just informed you now, right now you have an obligation to clean it. But if he owns it, it's his. And also you have to clean your cars. And if you have few houses, the richer you are, the more work you have. So if you have a house in Miami, my friend, you have to clean the house in Miami. And you don't want to fly to Miami and spend $400 just to clean one piece of bread that you have in a closet there from your last vacation. So make sure next time not to leave chametz, that you have to go back to Miami to clean the house. So if you have a friend there, someone that you can trust, or someone that has the key, so you bring a cleaning lady, she clean the house spotless, and then he's going to do bdikat chametz for you. Fine. But if not, you cannot leave the house. Unless if you sell the entire house to a goy. You sell the entire house to a goy, but then maybe the goy won't return you the house. Because you have to understand, if the goy is a little bit clever, he can take advantage on it. They can take advantage. One thing I don't recommend to do, don't be a fool that a minute after Pesach is over, standing already 3 hours in a pizza shop and in a bagel shop to have a piece of bread. Why? Because these people over there, usually, not all, but usually, the goyim come 2-3 hours before the holiday is over. They open the store and they start taking all the dough from the refrigerators or the freezer to warm up, so they can make the pizza from it. Cannot open now if Pesach is over at 8:30. You cannot start making the dough now. By the time you finish, it will be 11. You have to prepare it before. So they found a trick. You cannot use the chametz because he sold it to a goy. The owner of the pizza stand, he has racks full of chametz, of dough, but he sold it to a goy. But the only problem is that this sale will only expire a minute after Pesach is over. So how they touch it? How they prepare it if it belongs to a different goy? It belongs to a different pizza shop. Moshe, the Jewish pizza shop owner, sold all the dough that he have in his big refrigerator to Tony, the non-kosher pizza across the street. He came to Tony. That's how it works. Nobody knows how it is. People just do, here, come, sign here, give me a few dollars, goodbye. You have to understand what all these things, what are we doing? So Tony, now he said to Tony, listen, the dough, it's worth $2,000. Give me now $1 down payment, and you have to bring the rest of the money by 8 days from now at 8:21 p.m. Because you know that's the time Pesach finish, Nagid. So if by 8:21 p.m. in 8 days from now you don't bring the rest of the money, then I'm buying everything from you. You really own that for Pesach, because you gave a down payment. But since you fail to fulfill your obligation, so I'm actually buying it back from you. I don't have to give you anything, because you never gave me. So we even now. So you take it back. That's the trick. And really it's working, because he bought it. The only problem is, do you know one Tony in the world that agree really to buy the dough? Do you know one Tony that had in mind to bring the $2,000 to buy dough and he can make the dough for half a price? Or even forget it. Let's say if he cannot make it. One difference doesn't make. Who buy doughs? And has to bring the money in 8 days. You understand? One time, an owner of a supermarket sold the entire supermarket to a goy, and they wanted to show the public that this sale is very problematic, people who are against it. So they came in Chol HaMoed with a huge semi-trailer to the supermarket. All the chametz was covered with papers, and they showed up with big semi-trailer. And the owner of the supermarket said, "What's this? What's this? I didn't order anything." He said, "No, the guy sent us to pick up all the chametz that he bought from you." He said, "What? What are you talking about? It wasn't a part of the deal." So they said, "Why not? It's his or it's not his?" "It's his, but it wasn't the plan that he's going to leave me without merchandise now. It's going to take me 2 weeks to order new ones." You understand? It's all a show. It's a big thing. I say, for the $10, $20, it's not worth to count on this sale. Just make sure you don't leave anything that have chametz in the ingredients. Anything. If you're not sure, give it as a gift. Whatever you can return to a supermarket, return. They have return policy. Return it. Whatever you cannot return, you give it as a gift, and end of story. Then we continue. What happened? Are we allowed to see chametz in Pesach? To see with the eyes. In other words, I walk on the street, Muhammad comes with his falafel in front of me, like this, and I saw the pita in his mouth. Do I have to close my eyes and turn around? Huh? The Torah says, "Lo yera lecha chametz." You should not see any chametz. We don't translate the Torah literally. How many times I have to tell you? If we translate the Torah literally, almost everything will be different than what we do. We go by the Torah shebe'al peh. What does it mean? And what does it mean? It's my chametz, not someone else's chametz. Someone else's chametz is no problem. If you go to Petmark in the middle of Chol HaMoed to buy something kosher for Pesach, wine, and you see right next to it big piles of bread, you don't go like this. Ooh, I saw bread. Relax. Yeah, well, they have kosher products for Passover. I don't know, maybe Petmark owned by a Jew. I don't have to check. If it's owned by a Jew, it's a problem. If it's owned by a Jew. Technically, even if it's owned by a Jew and you just buy something that has nothing to do with Pesach, apples, oranges, watermelon, still allowed. Then, someone that have chametz before Pesach, and Pesach is coming and he's not cleaning the house. He leaves it. Even though he has 2 restrictions from the Torah, as I said, every second, and 1 positive mitzvah that he violates, you cannot hit him in a court of law with a whip. People who make sins in the old days, they gave them warning and they hit them to stop. But over here you cannot hit him. Why? Because we have a rule. Lav she'en bo ma'aseh en makim alav. A restriction that it's not involved with an act, you cannot hit the sinner. Only a restriction that he does something with his body, with his hand. Then, like taking pork and eating. That's something that is shaving with a razor. This is lavim, that a person make it with his hand. If he wouldn't move, he wouldn't do it. Over here, he didn't do anything. He didn't clean, and the chametz stay where it is. I don't touch it. Leave me alone. What do you want from me? I didn't do anything. No, my friend, still a sin, and still going to get serious punishment from Hashem. But in the court of the Jewish court, people like this couldn't get with the whip. Why? Because it's called lav she'en bo ma'aseh. Then we have a rule. Everything we cooked before Pesach, you cook a huge bowl of soup, and maybe 1 little crumb of chametz fell into it before Pesach. If it's before Pesach, it's batel b'shishim, like the rabbinical regular law. If you have more than 60 times against this little crumb, then it's fine. But if you made that soup in Pesach, and 1 little piece of flour fell inside, 1 drop, and even if there's 1,000 times more soup than this little drop of flour, 1 little tiny chametz makes the entire thing not kosher. Because inside Pesach, this rule doesn't apply, batel b'shishim. It doesn't batel in anything. 1 little crumb of chametz fall makes the entire thing chametz. Now, there is a big argument between the chachamim. If you cooked big bowl of rice and there was 1 wheat inside, 1 wheat, and the wheat rised, because when you cook it, it splits, and that's it, it rises. After 18 minutes, for sure it rises. So now the entire thing, if it was inside Pesach, the entire bowl has to go to the garbage. If it was in Pesach, if you cook rice, and then you saw 1 wheat, when you're about to serve it to the table, you have to throw the entire thing. If you made it before Pesach, technically you're not supposed to throw it, because it's batel b'shishim. But there's only 1 problem. There's big argument between the chachamim about nature. What's the nature? It's called chozer v'nior. If, fine, now when you heat it, if it's again, it's becoming chametz again. Something that chametz, passive chametz, become active chametz. For instance, they have a lemon acid powder that they make to use for candies and for food. It's like lemon salt, something like that. They make it with chametz, processed chametz. This chametz doesn't deserve to be eaten by itself. Even you give it to a dog, he won't eat it. But they use it as a processor. You know, in food today, they're very advanced. They do all kinds of strange things. You know, the question is, when you heat it, if this doesn't become chametz again. There's big questions about it. Chumtzat limon, it's called. So since there's an argument about certain things, better not to take any risk with things like this. Now, 1 more thing. They're going to sell in all the supermarkets cookies that's called papushado. Every year they sell it. You're going to see it. They have all kinds of shapes, round, this. Why they sell it? It looks like regular cookies. And it tastes like regular cookies. Why? Because they make it with fruit juice. Fruit juice. Fruit juice. If you make it with fruit juice, it doesn't rise. If you take flour and put orange juice or apple juice in it, it will never rise. It will never become chametz. But if you put 1 drop of water in it, then it becomes chametz. 1 drop. If the entire thing is fruit juice, it will never rise. So it's very interesting now. They make these cookies only with fruit juice. The only problem is like this. Listen good. This is a very interesting thing. According to Rav Ovadia Yosef, these cookies are perfectly fine. Kosher, it gives hechsher on it. You see signature on the packages. According to Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul, and the son of Rav Ovadia Yosef, Rabbi Yaakov Yosef, his oldest son, which is a huge Talmid Chacham, Av Bedin, it's totally chametz. Mamash chametz gamur, like eating bread. Why? Rav Ovadia's people who goes to check the factory swear that they're very careful over there and there's never a drop of water anywhere near the door. Rav Ovadia Yosef's son said that in his own eyes he saw that they're not so careful. Well, who can you rely on? I said, when two huge chachamim has an argument about reality, and this is such an important mitzvah, we don't take risk. We can live without the cookies. 1 week we won't eat those cookies. I've seen these cookies are very popular. They're in every supermarket. They come in a pack with a clear plastic. Very, very dangerous. Also rich matzah that made from fruit juice. You also have to be very careful. Egg matzah. You gotta be careful from all these things. Now, let's see what else we have to talk about.
How come is there expensive for the Ashkenaz and the Mike? How did that become?
There's all kinds of opinions how it started. Some say that the field of the wheat and the field of the rice were very close. When they used to pack them in bags, there's wind. And sometimes they fly from one to another and they get mixed. Or they use the same containers. So they're afraid that it's going to get in. Maybe that was the reality. But today, you buy rice. I checked rice so many times. I never found one wheat, ever. Ever. Never found wheat. Big basmati rice from Costco, not one even. Not 1 year, not 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20. Never. I'm not saying there's none. Maybe there is. That's why we check. We don't take risk. But you follow the custom of your fathers. That's the way it is. Everyone follows the tradition of his family, of the thing. Now I was very surprised that in Turkey they have a lot of Ashkenazi customs. The Sefer Torah is like Ashkenazim, with the 2 sticks. But there's Faradim, the Turkish. And also, they told me they don't eat kitniot also in Pesach. They don't eat kitniot. Very interesting. We have to check. History in Judaism, it's a whole profession by itself. You can be big Talmid Chacham, but you don't know history. You can know history very well, but you're not a Talmid Chacham. There's not that many that are also Talmidei Chachamim and also know all the history. How many like this you have? And they know the beginning of every custom. Because I spoke in my lecture that when people see Shiva, Lo Alenu, every house they're covering the mirror. So I said this minhag there's no source for it. So maybe 6 or 7 people wrote to me that the Khatam Sofer speaking about this and give reasons for it. It was 250 years ago. But I had a book of minhagim that went and investigate the root of every minhag. And he showed which minhag is reliable and which one came from the Goyim. And which one you just have no sense in it. That's it. So that was one of the weird minhagim. So people started to give me rabbis from 200 years ago. Rabbis were trying to find a logical explanation for this minhag. Why are you covering the mirror? Right? So they try to make something that makes sense. But they don't know what happened 800 years ago or 1500 years ago. How do they know? They're not there. So it's very hard to know unless if you really know history. That's why it's very important that if you read a book about the customs, the minhagim, you will know which minhag is good, which minhag is not good, which minhag is really bad. Some of the supposedly Jewish customs are taken from Arabs. And all kinds of other things. And even the Gemara warned not to do some of the custom of the Emori. You understand? Yeah, now I always say before Yom Kippur to do kaparot with money, not with chickens. Why? There's few problems with the chicken. First problem is that there are some rabbis who say that this is a custom of the goyim, to slaughter an animal and to go like this, to do kaparot, comes from the Emori, Minaga Emori. That's one opinion. One opinion, no. But that's already an argument. Okay. Second problem is, let's say it's not Emori. A person shochet is standing in a yard, he has thousands of chickens, all day he has to slaughter, all day, all day. It's not like a regular day that he works for a butcher. He slaughters 20, 30 a day. Over here, maybe 500, 700 a day. He check the knife, whatever, but you know how it is, under pressure, line, people. And they go like this. What's the chance that all of them will come kosher? We're not sure. Then there's another problem. It's also become baltashchit. Why? Because all this chicken goes to the garbage. Why they go to the garbage? Because the poor people don't want these chickens. I remember I went to Aveliyahu Ben Chaim to pray there about a day before Pesach a few years ago. One person came with bag, 36 chicken. 36 chicken from Kaparot. He said, anyone wants the chickens? 5 times, 10 times, not one person looking at him. Nobody wants. Why? People say, what, all your sins going to go into my mouth? That's how they think. I remember many years ago, my mother did kaparot in Tel Aviv there, in the market. She went to a crazy woman that speak to herself, never take shower, walk in the street. Since she never take a shower, she have all kinds of things growing in her face. Mama, she collect all kinds of things. The house looked like a big garbage bag. This kind of crazy. And when she wanted to give her the chickens, you should see how she was screaming and cursing. You're giving me your kaparot. You're giving me your sin. Even she understood that these chickens are supposedly not good. But it's really nonsense. Because just because they did kaparot and they killed the chicken doesn't mean the sin transferred to the chicken. The debt that was supposed to come to the Jew went to the chicken, but not the curse. The debt. The Jew was supposed to die, now the chicken died instead. That's the idea of this custom. But not the sin. So one time I saw nobody wants it. I wanted to give it to this guy, doesn't want. This guy doesn't want. I got stuck with that. What am I going to put it in the garbage? I said, you know what, let me cut it to pieces, I wash it. I didn't know that it's full of all the things inside. You know what a job it is? Half an hour it takes to clean it. If you're not a professional and you don't have the machinery, half an hour to clean one chicken. And then you lose 10 years of your life from the smell. You have no idea what horrible smell it is. And there is something inside that looks like yellow sand. I don't know what it is. When I saw it, I almost fainted. So what's this? Sand. Some kind of one of the organs. When you cut it, the yellow sand comes out. Horrible. Who wants this? So this minhag is not a good minhag. It's better to do with money. And the money you give to a poor person, money everyone takes. With the sin. I'm not saying it. I'm saying it in the name of Gdolim. Anything that a Gadol say, I allow myself to say. If nobody say,
Somebody said such a thing?
Sure. It's to do only with money. שזה מנהג האמורי, completely. Yeah. Hasidim, it's 10 הדיברות for them, kaparot. They're never going to stop with that. They hear the arguments against it, but they have their opinion. I'm not saying to anyone what to do. I'm speaking loud to myself. And in Hebrew we say, המבין יבין.
But the people are going to take a lesson that any minute that doesn't make sense to them, they'll just throw it away.
Could be. Maybe they make this maybe they make this sense. The people can make a lot of calculation in their mind, which mitzvah we should keep, which one we should not keep.
Everything your parents taught you, then you're safe.
we're speaking about the root of the customs. They make books today that have askamot of big rabbanim, gdolei rabbanim. And they make, in these books, they write which minhag is reliable and which one penetrated Judaism from the Goyim. For instance, putting flowers on a grave. Jews don't do that. The Goyim do it. Why Jews do not do it? Because it's minhag HaGoyim. That's not true. It's a Jewish custom. And the Goyim copy from us, and after the Goyim started to do it, we stopped doing it. That's what happened. Oh, you want to do like a Goy? You put flowers on a grave? What is this? But it's a Jewish custom. But then the Goyim took it, and now we lost it. So that's one way. Then it's sometimes the other way around. It's the other way around. The Goyim do it, and we copy from them, and we started to do certain things. You understand? And after we do it, they stop doing it. Do you see Goyim to do kaparot?
No.
Does any Goyim do kaparot? But some of the Gdolim say it's minhag ha'emori. So the Goyim used to do it. They do kaparot? They do with chickens? With chickens. Now in Turkey, I saw by the doors, they have what do you call it? A horse, parsa shel sus. How do you call it? Shoe horse? Shoe horn. By the door, the Muslims in Turkey, they put it. I asked the guy, what's this? He said, against Ayin Hara. And you know the Muslim also have Khamsa? Khamsa. So there's two opinions where this Khamsa came from. One opinion is from the Kabbalah, Keneged Mantzapach, 5 ending Mem, ending Nun, and ending Tzadik. 5 letters have an ending letter. So it's 5, it's against Ayin Hara. But I saw in one of the books that is a Muslim custom, this Khamsa. Nothing to do with Judaism. And you see that the Arabs do it. They buy this Khamsa everywhere. That's in their tradition. So I don't know. Maybe it's Kabbalah, maybe it's Arab. I don't know. They make an investigation.
Investigate what?
They not always they're able to prove. I'm talking what they're able to prove.
Maybe they're guessing it.
You know what it is? We cannot argue before we read the book. Once we read it, then we know if it's reliable or not. Yeah? All right. Anyway, we continue. It says like this. Chachamim say we're not allowed to eat chametz from the beginning of the 6th hour of the day. Midday, from the beginning of the 6th hour. And from that moment on, after that, we're not allowed, like I said, to sell it or to make any profit from it. That's why we have to do it before. And it's better not to do it, just to get rid of it, as I said before. Then, to eat chametz, only 4 hours from the morning, from the sunrise, 4 hours. What is it, 9 something? 10:34? It's 4 hours. של אכילת חמץ. No, what time to eat חמץ? סוף זמן קריאת שמע, end of קריאת שמע, to read שמע, it's 3 hours from the sunrise, which is about 8:40 something now. 8:40, let's say. So it should be אכילת חמץ about 9:20, 9:30, that's it. Magen Avraham, yeah, I forgot they changed the clock, I wasn't here. Oh, they changed the clock. Okay, so 10:30, 10:30 something, that's it. After that you cannot eat chametz anymore. And by 12 something, that's it, you cannot even sell the chametz anymore. Just remember, please.
And you burn the chametz what time if you want?
Huh? The times, the heavy?
11:48.
No, I don't want the time everyone would look. I'm just saying the concept that 4 hours, 6 hours. Now there's one more very important thing. After we clean the house, we only leave bread to eat breakfast. The whole house is clean already, so we leave a little bit for the morning, for the following morning. Once we're done with that, we take the leftover. But the night before, we do bdikat chametz. We take 10 little pieces of bread, very little, less than 1 ounce for sure, must be less, a lot less. We put them in tin foils, and the wife or one of them family member hide them in 10 different places, and he has to write where he put them, in different rooms. And then when we start the bdikat chametz, usually we do the bdikat chametz when the stars begins to arrive. We start it, we make bracha al biur chametz on a candle. We light the candle, and the first 1 or 2 meters, 2 or 3 feet, we do with the candle. But it's very difficult to do with the candle because it's dripping, and you're afraid to burn things, and so it's very difficult. So you already have a flashlight with good batteries prepared in advance. Not 2 minutes before you remember that the flashlight doesn't have battery. So you prepare 1 or 2 flashlights, and you make on the candle. And then right after that, you turn the flashlight on, you put the candle off, and you continue with the flashlight. Bdikat chametz, few people can do. Doesn't have to be one person. If you have sons, they are in a house, you can say, you do the first floor, you do the basement, you do the upstairs, to save time. If there's many, so then you can give, one will do the cars. Now, if you have another property nearby, you can do it on the same bracha, same blessing, but you don't talk. You get in your car, quickly you go to the other apartment and you do it. If it's very far, that it's more than half an hour to get there, you're going to need to do bracha again, because like it's a new mitzvah now. Or, unless if somebody else, you send somebody else to do it, so he does over there. Then once we're done with the biur chametz, with the bdikat chametz, we make bitul. The night. You have in Haggadah, in the beginning, the first few pages in Haggadot has this. What does it mean? All the chametz that what we have, this will be cancelled. Okay. But that's not the main bitul. The main bitul will be tomorrow morning. The final bitul. Because right now we still left chametz. So this bitul is only the other parts, but the chametz that we have, we did not cancel yet. After the morning, when we take the chametz to burn it, if there's no fire, Monsi, they make big fire. Fire department is there, they're watching it. Everyone comes, there's huge fire, it's surrounded by bricks, and everyone throw it in, and that's it. See, hundreds of people coming. In Queens, I don't know how it works. Is no fire, don't start making fire in the middle of Queens Boulevard. You don't want to spend Leila Seder in a arrest or something. So what do? You take the chametz into the bathroom, break it to small pieces, and flush. That's it. That's biur chametz. Unless if you have fire. If you have fire somewhere, then you go to a fire. It's always better fire. But if not, you open it, you break it to pieces in the bathroom, you flush, make sure nothing left. That's it. That's biur chametz. After the biur chametz, you have to say the nosach. It's in Arami, כל חמירה דאיקה ברשותי, דחזיתה ודלא חזיתה, דביארתה ודלא ביארתה, כן? ליבטיל ולהבה כאפרה דארה. It will be cancelled and be like the sand on the ground. But if you don't understand Aramic, say it in your own language. What do you have to say? All the chametz that I have by me, whether I saw it, whether I did not see it, will be dismissed and will be like the sand on the ground. I have no interest in it. From this moment on, look at the power of speech. Even if you have loaves of bread, whiskey, beer, whatever you have, you forgot to clean, you didn't remember, it's in a closet in the attic, and you find it in the middle of Pesach, don't kill yourself. It's considered sand. You just take it out of, in Chol HaMoed, you take it out of the house. In Yom Tov, if you find chametz, also don't panic, just take something and cover it. Some box or something, cover it, a pot. Cover it, and then in Chol HaMoed, when the Yom Tov finish at night, take it out to the garbage. Now, you have to remember a few things that people forget. The vacuum cleaner usually stay with all the chametz the entire 8 days in your house. Clean the whole house, we forgot everything in the vacuum cleaner bag. So make sure you get rid of this. And one more thing you forget, if you own the garbage cans, If it's owned by the town, then you can throw everything there, end of story. It's in the street, hefker. And if you own the garbage can, you bought them, it's your property. It's not good if it's there. So you have to make sure to get rid of it, that they'll take it before Pesach, and plus to rinse it. Maybe pieces fell, you have to rinse it. Or, there's another solution. You say in front of people that these garbage cans, you're not interested in them. You mafkir otam, the hefker. But then your neighbor can take it, if he's sneaky. If not, he understands what you mean, so he leave it alone. But if he took it, so you buy new ones. But at least you don't have chametz in your property. Now, if you have grass, the kids go with sandwiches during the year, they eat outside, what are you going to do? Start to biur chametz in the grass? The answer is you don't have to. The animals already did it for you. You're counting on the animals that they did it. And if they didn't, don't worry, you're counting on canceling the chametz, it's good. So, when a person cancels the chametz, technically it's the most important thing. If he did not do it, and then later he found chametz in his house that he did not see, then he has a serious problem. But if he did the bitul, he can sleep well at night. Technically, if a person didn't clean the house at all, let's say he was in a hospital, he couldn't do. And he said in the morning, before the time comes into effect, that all the chametz that I have will be like the sand on the ground, and his house is full of chametz, he doesn't violate any sin from the Torah. Nothing. But he cannot ever use this chametz anymore. Since when you're eating sand, if he'll eat it, that means it was a lie, what he say. You gotta get rid of it. But this is the power of speech. A person can say to a woman, "Arat mekudeshet li," no man can ever put his finger on her for the rest of her life, until he will release her. Power of speech. Person say on an animal, this animal is Kodesh, the Bet HaMikdash, it got mixed with 1,000. All 1,000 are Kodesh, you don't know. You cannot touch them, you cannot eat them. Problem. There was something like this with the kaparot. One with the kaparot, that one chicken got mixed with all of them. And they had to throw hundreds of chickens because they didn't know which one. I remember reading a story like this, that they ran. You understand? Now, crumbs in the car, underneath, people take off the chairs, this, that. It's nice to clean good. But even if there's few crumbs left, we're counting on a bitul. As long as it's not 1 ounce pieces, which is chametz gamur, mamash be'en, roim et ze, big piece, little crumbs here and there, it's not going to get even to kazait. Even if you collect all the crumbs, you won't get to kazait. Shouldn't kill yourself over it. Some people bother to start opening the books and clean them from inside, because maybe during the year they learn on Shabbat and crumbs went inside. It's not an halakha, it's not an obligation, it's chumrah. You want to do it, fine. However, the Birkat Hamazon, the benchers, the one we use every Shabbat on the table, you have to check them, because for sure there's bread there. But other books that you take once in a while, you don't have to start cleaning your whole library. Imagine if you had to, Rav Ovadia Yosef would have to check the books from one Pesach to another all year. That's all he had to do. 70,000 books, check page by page. Baruch Hashem, by the time he finished, Pesach came again. That's what it would be. Then, any questions so far before time is running out? In high closets that nobody reached, you have to go on a ladder, like storage, like attic, you don't have to check. Unless if you go there with chametz. But if you know all year you didn't go to the attic with chametz, what do you put in the attic? Only some suitcases or things that you never use. You throw over there. Clothes, whatever. You know you didn't take chametz there, you don't have to bother to climb there. The kids cannot reach there and there's no problem. Now, what happens if there's a landlord and tenant? A few days before Pesach, the transaction has to take place. Who's going to clean the house? The tenant said to the landlord, I want the house clean, ready for Pesach. The landlord said, no, it's your obligation to clean. And they're arguing, and in the end, he gave the tenant the key. And the tenant said, I don't care, I don't clean. I told you, you gave me the house full of chametz, it's your responsibility. Who has to clean? What do you think? Once the tenant received the key, he is the owner of the house. From this moment on, he gets an obligation to clean. So if you don't want to clean, don't take the key. Don't take the key. First check the apartment if there's a lot of chametz. If there's none, take the key. If there's a lot, tell him, if you don't clean, I don't rent this apartment. Someone who forgot to do biur chametz, or even on purpose did not do, and now he wants to do in Chol HaMoed. Is it worth something or no? Huh? 2 days into the holiday already passed, Yom Tov. Not only it helps, he must do. He must do bdikat chametz. No, it doesn't. No, the 10 is not an obligation, it's a recommendation. You can do biur chametz without the 10 pieces. You know what? Technically, you don't even need to put chametz. The reason we do it, because we don't want it to be bracha levatala. Like we say, al biur chametz, and in the end we found nothing. That's really the custom. But really, it's not necessary, because we are mevarim chametz, and there's no chametz. We're checking. We do what the Torah says. So, and we also live anyway without this. There's always leftover. So we can put 10 different things. It doesn't have to be chametz. Just to know that we check good the house. What happens if a goy put his chametz by a Jew? Force the Jew to hold the chametz in his home. Don't move it from here, he say. A gangster. What's going to be now?
No problem. Stop, please.
If the Jew would have to pay him for the chametz if a damage happens to it, then the Jew must clean it from his property. That means the Jew has responsibility on this chametz. If something will happen to the chametz and there's a goy problem, I'm doing you a favor, but I'm not responsible, then you can just cover it and you don't have to do anything with that. Now, I want to ask you a question. Let's say you went to Florida for Pesach, God forbid. And now when you're in Florida, you have a nice house, and your neighbor loves you so much, and he decided to take revenge against you and your wife for all the aggravation you caused them all year. So he came with a case of beer, he put it in your backyard, in the middle, like this. Moshe is in Florida, and the timer is clicking. 3, 6, 9. You come from Florida? What's this? So we have a rule, חצרו של אדם קונה לו שלא מדעתו. The yard, the property of a person, buy anything for you, even if you're not aware of it. Which means, if the wind, somebody lost something, and it flew money, $100 bill, and he came and he hit my grass, and then continued to fly. He hit my grass, and then flew after to the neighbor. Who it belongs to? To me. Once he touched my property absorb it and buy it for me. It's like my messenger, even if I don't know about it. So if he takes it, he's a thief. When it comes to Shamayim, he will find out that he stole. So now when the neighbor put the beer in my backyard, Not me, I'm not going to go to Florida. Those who goes. And he puts it right there. Did he mess up his holiday or no? His yard observed it for him. Bought it for him. No? Yes or no? Don't talk to me feelings. Talk to me halakha, logic.
He didn't mess up his holiday.
Why?
Because it's not a win person.
So, you know how many sins we can do without really realizing or have any intention? A person that wanted to have a boy and a girl all his life, he tried and he had 10 boys. He did not make purvu. It's his fault? No, he tried, but he didn't make the mitzvah. Same thing. It's his fault? No, but he had chametz in his property.
He didn't accept it upon himself as his.
Doesn't matter. It's shelo mida'ato. That's the whole point. Once he hits your ground, even if you're not there, it's yours. Not only when you're there to see it. No, the bitul he did before it came.
Oh.
And I never did bitul on this. Yeah. The answer is nothing happened to him. It's no problem. Why? The rule that chatzero shel adam kona lo shelo mida'ato, the property of a person observed, buy it for him, even when he's not aware of it, is only if he's interested in that. Put poison over there, he doesn't want it. Put a bomb, he doesn't want it. So that's well, because when we find out that he's not interested in it, it never became his. Only things that it's obvious that he wants. A treasure fell there. Someone lost a diamond over there. Of course he wants. Doesn't want anyone else to get it. But poison, dynamite, who wants it?
But the guy knew he loved beer. And then it's not poison.
Well, he only found out after Pesach. Okay, one last thing for today. Yeah. 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 He could use it, no problem. It says like this.
Alright, can I ask you a quick question? It's very important.
Yeah.
Let's say, Kolomor, right? God forbid, somebody dies, and you have to leave to, Florida or something like that. And you're religious, but your brothers or whoever you're going to sit shiva with is not that religious. And you don't know if they clean the house good, or you don't know.
It's not your problem. You have an obligation that your house is clean and you don't eat chametz.
Keep separate for Pesach or not, because they're not that religious.
You can't eat on their plates. You cannot, people who you don't know if they're clean or not, and they're not religious, you cannot eat by their house at all on Pesach, at all.
But it's your brother, and somebody in Kolomot, somebody passed away.
So, you go there and you don't eat. Ma. You don't eat. You eat vegetables, eat fruit. That's it.
If a person has a health problem and he's not able to drink 4 cups of wine, what can he do?
Like diabetics?
Something like that.
It doesn't have to. אלה המצוות אשר יעשה אותם האדם וחי בהם. Not that he should die. But 4 cups of wine is rabbinical law. And Chazal, when they made a law, they made an exception to the law that cholim ומצטערים, people who are in sorrow and sick, they are dismissed from it. That's why in Shabbat, we're allowed to tell the goy to do something for a Jew that is sick, even though he doesn't have a life risk. For me and you, no. For a person, an old person or sick person, we can tell the goy, do something for him, take care of him, maybe he needs tea, go get blanket from the store. Why? Because it's חולה, שאין בו סכנה. חולה שיש בו סכנה, חולה with the life risk, you and I can do things for him, we don't need a goy. But that's it. Now, some of the halachot I already said, so let me skip it.
If women don't want to drink the wine, you have to force them to drink it, or they don't have to do it?
It's a very, very big... It's very big mitzvah, 4 cups of wine. You know, if they don't want, get them very little cups, 3.2 ounces. 3.2 ounces minimum. It's nothing. It's 1 sip. Very small. Check. Measure the cup. 3.2 ounces. Grape juice is, well, depends according to who. If you want to drink grape juice, according to Rambam and some other opinion, it's not good. So if you cannot drink wine completely, mix it with wine. Some wine you put in a cup, a third, whatever, and the rest grape juice. The rest. But there has to be some wine in it. Any questions? I have to run, I have another lecture. So any question, please? Now. Huh?
What is the next lecture?
It's in Hebrew, not about Pesach. Right here, 2 blocks away. Yeah.
I just heard yesterday that supposedly all the grape juices that they sell here, they're more water than wine. So the Rabbi said not to drink them instead of the 4 cups.
You know, I say the story that in one of the weddings of the Ashkenazim, Rav Ovadia Yosef made on the wine שהכל נהיה בדברו, in a chuppah. And they said, what is this? So it's mostly water. But, you want to hear something funny? One time, there was milk that fell into a cholent bowl by the Hasidim. Hasidim were preparing for tish. Hundreds of them come. Cholent cook all night. One little kid play with the milk. 1 spark of milk. A bunch of milk went into the bowl. They didn't know if there's 60 times more or not. Batel b'shishim or not. Milk spilled inside. So all the rabbis said, we don't know. How can we say it's allowed? Maybe it's not batel. So they went to one of the rabbis. So he said, give me an hour, I'll tell you. So after an hour, he told them, you can eat it, it's fine. But I say, don't ever ask me why I allow it. But you allow. After a few years, somebody asked him, Rabbi, okay, now it's been years. Tell us how you allowed everyone to eat cholent with milk spilled inside. So he said, that hour I called the milkman. And I said, between you and I, how much water you put in the milk? I found out half of the milk is water. Now for sure it's batel b'shishim. Because the amount of milk is half of what you thought. The rest is all water. You see? He was clever. You know, in the old days in Israel, there wasn't milk like here. A milkman used to come with a bicycle, big cart with a bicycle. He drives with bottles with glass. And he gives you the bottle and you have to give him the old one from yesterday. He takes the empty one and he gives you new one. Fresh. Not like today. You drink it that day. That's it. Not preservative, 1 week is in the fridge. That's how it was. The milkman used to bring. And in Israel today, the milk is in bag, not in carton like this. In bags. They have a special plastic. You cut the bag in the air. It always falls to the side. They never steal hair. They are the #1 in high-tech in the world. Somehow they didn't hear that they have to put it in a box that they can stand. I don't know. What can I tell you? Baruch Adonai L'olam, Amen v'Amen. We'll see you next Monday, Bezrat Hashem.